telling me about that hit song that you heard one time.
Oh, by Bonnie Tyler? The hit song by Bonnie Tyler?
The hit song by famed songstress Bonnie Tyler.
Yeah. Turn around, brown eye. No. How's it go? You know what? I don't think the listener to this show needs to hear such a degrading and low class parody.
No, you were telling me about it. We gotta go forward on it.
I think our show's a little bit more highbrow these days.
Turn around, brown eye.
Every now and then I have to fart, and I need to fart tonight, and I'm farting more than ever. That one's great.
And I'm farting making you fart. And I'm farting on your pussy. And I'm drinking all your fart juice. Oh, once there was a time I tried to shit, but now I'm only flying a fart.
Yes, now I'm only ripping a fart.
There's lots of these dicks in my fart.
Yeah, turn around, brown eye. Turn around, brown eye. Every now and then I have to fart is my magnum opus. I've written the last and only song parody I'll ever need to make $1 million, right?
Turn around, yeah. You can be one of those shock jocks. You can be one of those '90s radio shock jocks like Man Cow, or you could be like Opie and Anthony. That's a real good Opie and Anthony bit.
Opie and Anthony were back in the news this week because of Paris Hilton. Paris Hilton.
Really? What did they do?
Well, Paris Hilton just brought up a really cringe-worthy interview that they did back in 2001 where they were just making fun of her in a misogynist way. She just sort of was like, hey, guys, remember this? And then people listened to it and they were like, oh, God. So
these Opie and Anthony guys who've been fired from many of their jobs for being
they managed
too
to
unwholesome for shock jock radio.
They managed to get canceled for stuff they did 20 years ago now, which is kind of impressive in terms of how offensive they were. They got fired from the radio because they broadcasted the noises of a couple having sex in a church. And so they got fired.
Weird.
I remember when that happened.
Weird.
I was listening to. I was a listener, a young prepubescent boy. I listened to all the shock jocks I could, and it's interesting to find other people did that too. But I was listening to all of them, plus some of the local ones in Dallas. There was a couple of local ones in Dallas. This one guy, what was his name? I can't remember his name right now, but he bought a vintage Batmobile. Like one of the vintage Batmobiles from the Adam West era, and he thought that was really cool. And
those are really cool.
Yeah, he would drive around Dallas in that.
Damn, I don't know. You're making this guy sound like a baller.
He was
what would he do on air? Would he?
Yeah,
what was his famous bit?
The same stuff where you like make fun of people with disabilities or women. That's what they do.
You're doing ableism, and not the good kind of woke ableism, where it's like I draw a picture.
No one liked my can-ableism joke about the cannabis store.
What was the joke?
Joke it's like a really woke cannabis store called can-ableism, but it's secretly cannibals.
Okay. It's not. I'm sorry. It
needs workshopping because can-ableism is like cannibalism, and that's funny. But what's the setup?
Can-ableism sounds like some sort of like Canadian version of ableism, where they just politely. That to me, that's what it registers more as opposed to a cannabis shop.
Yeah.
Can-ableism. It's funny to think about. We're doing some very Canadian ableism to you right now. Well, your wheelchair is costing us government money because we live in a social democracy that's funded. Except we have a shitty healthcare system, and the NDP means nothing. The NDP is a meaningless collection of non-ideologues who are just there to, I don't know, be a vestigial appendix to the Liberal Party.
I saw a tweet kind of went viral saying that, like, something like, if you're not paying attention to the Canadian left, take a look, because they're in the middle of some kind of big war. Do you get that sense?
Yeah, well, if you're talking about the mainstream left, in heavy scare quotes, political party, the NDP, then yeah, there is sort of a reckoning for the will of that party going on right now, because it's basically been floundering as this just a very slightly to the left of the Liberal Party institution, when really, in order for it to be a meaningful party at all, it has to take on some more radical policies. And what still sucks about the NDP is they're still the most left-wing mainstream party in Canada, because the Greens recently got a lady named Annamie Paul, who's credentialed. She's a Princeton lady, but she has weird, Venezuela, like Juan Guaido ties, like weird capitalist coup people. She's buddying up with these people. And, Green Party people in Canada have been called conservatives on bikes, stuff like that.
Ooh. Some of that razor sharp Canadian wit that we all
razor sharp
we all love. I'm crushing your head. I'm crushing your head. Sorry.
Hey, we have Mark McKinney is popular. The resurgence of Superstore as a sitcom, thanks to its proliferation on all the streaming platforms.
One thing I like about Canadian
McKinney in our lives.
One thing I like about Canadian media is that it is guaranteed that they will rep other Canadian artists, like shoehorn them in, like Trailer Park Boys. They'll get every Canadian artist ever to come on a Trailer Park Boys. Make sure everyone has their 5 minutes. I can only think of Alex Lifeson from Rush and Sebastian Bach. Well, Elliot Page and who else?
Yeah, but before Elliot Page was famous, I guess that's true. It's just a rite of
and then
passage.
That's all there was. See, point proven. Every single Canadian artist. There you go.
There you go. That's all of them.
Get a little
Drake was on, or it's Trailer Park Boys or Degrassi. You were either on Trailer Park Boys or Degrassi. That's the path to fame.
I gotta watch Degrassi.
Degrassi's it's a funny, weird show.
Yeah, I gotta watch it.
All versions of Degrassi are funny and weird.
What do you mean versions?
Well, because Degrassi started in the 1980s. It's basically like the Doctor Who of Canadian teen dramas, where there's just endless cycling versions of it.
Ooh, there's 80s?
And actually characters from the 80s Degrassi come back in the Degrassi The Next Generation show.
Much like Don Quixote.
What? Does Don Quixote take place over? I've never read.
Well, there's
Don
two
Quixote,
books in it, and characters from the first book come back into the second book.
There's a time skip, like in One Piece.
Yes. Well, Don Quixote is the first modern novel because it's like trippy in a way, in that the events of the first book inform the main character. In a way that was new. Like, so he gets really famous. Don Quixote gets really famous as like this crazy old guy who went fighting windmills.
Yeah.
And so then he becomes a famous person in Spain, and so the second book is like about him dealing with the fame of the.
Yeah.
But neither book is real.
That's such an interesting thing. I'm just thinking about, I was ruminating on a movie that's generally thought to be a classic and, is taught in film schools as like a perfect screenplay. And something that I generally agree with is Network by Paddy Chayefsky.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, even in Don Quixote, as you're describing it, I don't know much about the plot of Don Quixote because I'm a pleb. But, there's part of it is him getting subsumed into this public perception of himself and sort of losing the beat. as is in Network when Howard Beale starts, ranting, and then the network starts taking advantage of his ranting because we're getting really good traction with this Beale ranting over here, and you see that theme endlessly reproduced, like your attempt at rebellion or revolution or living a more noble life is eventually thwarted and subsumed by society. And what's interesting about Don Quixote is, I would say that this is a feature of neoliberalism in Network, but in Don Quixote, there's not a neoliberal society. It's just...
Oh, yeah, but it is sort of about the end of a different sort of society.
Is it about the emergence of a more capitalist society?
No, it's nothing about capitalism, but it is sort of about the end of chivalry. As chivalry was like a code of ethics that really informed everyone for a little while. And it was a big pile of contradictions, because the knights were upper class and were constantly losing fights because they wouldn't basically listen to with the working class soldiers who did it for a living and knew what they were doing. Countless times knights were just big assholes who had this code of chivalry that was obviously bullshit because of how they actually acted. And Don Quixote's a really old man when he goes off fighting windmills, because he thinks there's giants. They are giants. But cooler, crazier shit happens. So someone in between, there was a gap in between when Cervantes wrote books 1 and 2, and I'm remembering all of this stuff, so some of the details may be wrong. But another thing that's cool that happened is someone wrote a fake sequel to it, and Cervantes read the fake sequel and then writes parts where the main character, Don Quixote, has also read the fake sequel, and he talks about, he's like, oh, they're writing such bullshit about me. It's
that's pretty cool.
And it's very funny. Yeah, you should read it. It reads easy. It's not a hard read at all. You got to get one of the good translations, but I think all the translations are pretty... Oh.
But yeah, there are elements of meta-narrative. I mean, Don Quixote, the story goes, right, that he reads too many stories, and that's what drives him insane. He reads too many novels, and that's what makes him go insane.
Wait, is that what happens? I think I remember that, yeah. Yeah,
isn't that the feature of the story?
That's at the beginning.
So it's like a deconstruction. It's a deconstruction of the chivalrous hero, much in the same way that Neon Genesis Evangelion is a deconstruction of the mecha
right.
genre.
Well, Howard is it Howard Beale and Network? Yeah,
Howard Beale.
There's. I mean, I don't know. I don't think you can go too far with Don Quixote and Network, but there are a couple of parallels that are interesting. And I need you more than ever.
Yeah, well, sort of a guy driven insane and trying to adhere to a more noble life, or at least a guy who's journalism had become subsumed by corporate filth, and the idea that you could use journalism or broadcasting as a way to speak truth to power, but in the end, speaking that truth to power is just subsumed by the machine.
Yeah, I think we use subsumed too much. We gotta.
I say subsumed.
Love to be
That's
subsumed.
Me. I love subsuming.
Have you ever been subsumed?
Just once. I was doing one of those, those things where they put you in a latex and vacuum bag you out, so you're just, latex gimp person.
Yeah, everyone knows that.
Yeah. So yeah, I was vacuum sealed in latex, and that was the most subsumed I've ever been.
That sounds cozy.
But the problem is, they foreclosed on the S&M dungeon right in the middle of the procedure, and a bunch of feds actually, took me out. I was the latex vacuum machine. It's this large mattress rectangle, and I was still on it. And because I couldn't speak, they didn't realize I was still on it. They thought I was just a prop, so they threw me in a ditch.
Damn,
and I was later.
That's kind of like what happened to Han Solo.
Yeah, it was, yes. Yeah. Han Solo was a latex creep.
Well, no, Jabba.
It's in the
Jabba's
books.
the latex creep. He's probably... I don't think they probably didn't have latex in Star Wars. I don't think.
Yeah, it's called Space Tex.
It's worse. The one thing that we have that's better is plastic. There's not a single kind of plastic in all of Star Wars. That's the one thing they don't have in science fiction because it's also a curse.
They don't have fossil fuels because they didn't have dinosaurs.
Damn. What?
No dinosaurs on Tatooine because God didn't put them there as a test.
God didn't put evolution in the Star Wars universe. Imagine if there's other forms of life and we're the only ones that got evolution.
I mean, there definitely are other forms of life. Didn't they discover, like, very tiny potential forms of life on, like, water moons of Jupiter and stuff like that?
No. No, that would be major news.
Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm just imagining that. Maybe I think that happened.
They found water on the moon, and that was a big deal. They found, and they think that's pretty likely. There used to be water on Mars, and there may be water underneath Mars.
Oh, damn.
But
a bunch of Silicon Valley freaks are going to bottle that water and sell it as Mars water.
Yeah, if we knew that there was microorganisms living on a moon of Jupiter, we would be on the way right now. And if we weren't, I would be so sad because that's what we should do. We should take the Star Trek type mentality, abandon money, and make the quest for knowledge and knowledge itself our new currency.
Yeah, STEM is the only it's the only thing. We should become
violently repress the arts.
We should communism, but STEM Lord communism, yeah. Art should only, as it is in Star Trek, art should only be done by our robots who are attempting to understand humanity. All the art shall be put on holodecks.
Yeah, it's gonna be great, guys. Let's do this. Come on.
Yeah, that's what Star Trek utopianism is. Yeah. There's a debate. Do you think Star Trek comes across as genuinely utopian, or do you think there's like an undercurrent of fascism?
It comes across as utopian because its leaders are all like great actors instead of who we would actually get, like Space Commander Cuomo. Like, come here. Why are you flying the plane? The space plane, when you could be giving me a kiss. Give me a smooch.
Who cares about whether Data is sentient when I could be kissing you?
Yeah, so I mean, yeah, you get great men. Star Trek's unrealistic because every single fucking captain is
and women with Janeway.
Right, you get great human as the leader, or evil or super evil. Instead of just horny. I guess that when Riker takes over, that's why people like it, because Riker's primary objective is horny.
Well, Star Trek started out as horny. Kirk's primary objective was also horny. And that's what was lost in the mix of the new Star Trek, because Picard, while he was definitely horny a lot of the time, he was subdued. He was horny for Beverly Crusher. He hooked up. He got Mad Puss. He hooked up with Jean Grey from the X-Men movies, Famke Janssen, who was like a perfect sex object, and she was like, "Oh, Picard, I'll be your sex object," and he was like, "No, I've got too much dick discipline."
I can. Number one, I call it number one. Now, number two and number three, you can guess what those are.
Oh my. TNG is good. And yeah, I would agree that it does come across as genuinely utopian. Just the idea of a replicator that machine, that was always the thing that I wanted most in Star Trek. The machine where you just say whatever food it is, and it brings it to you, just materializes in front of you.
Number one, I'd like a pile of shit. Materialize.
Captain, are you going to eat that entire pile of shit right in front of me? Yes.
There's an idea for your next 2-panel comic. Have Captain Picard Picard materialize a pile of shit and then eat it. Irony for the Gen Zs.
I had a shit idea for a comic, but I was wondering if it was woke ableism. It's Dan Crenshaw's Terrible Secret, and he flips open his eye patch and he shits out his eye sock. Which I find funny for some reason. But is it ableism? Because he lost his eye doing something terrible. Like, he wasn't born that way. But am I saying to all single-eyed people, you know, you shit out your eyes?
How is that like an insult to their ability? Is that an insult to, like, their disability? How?
I don't know. Maybe it's just like they would feel. I'm saying that everyone with an eye patch is secretly holding a face anus.
Like the eye patch is holding back the poop. And there's you see a bulge. That'd be terrifying, dude.
His head is full of poop constantly. Yeah.
I mean,
shitting out your eye.
Yeah, that sounds terrifying. I mean, definitely don't make that comic because you will get canceled. You'll go to Canadian jail, right? What do they do now? They send you up north. They send you to the Yukon.
Yeah, see, that's can-ableism.
Yeah.
That's can-ableism. That's how you get back to that joke. Well, I mean, I was tempted to do woke ableism to Greg Abbott recently, and also to Madison Cawthorn, who was punching a tree.
Yeah.
Did you see the footage of Madison Cawthorn punching a tree?
Oh, I did see it.
No,
you dropped out for a second.
Okay, you saw the footage. I dropped my internet.
That's okay. I saw it. Yeah. That sweet boy is what I have to say.
That sweet Nazi boy. That sweet paraplegic Nazi
Dude, someone
boy.
took, like, Dr. Strangelove and went back in time with him and made him learn English, and that's him.
Oh man, I like the idea of this very conflicted Antifa guy with Madison Cawthorn.
Yo, man,
he's like very. He's a Nazi, but he's in a wheelchair. Damn, is this ableism or is this?
Antifa's gonna take me out tree punching.
Can I beat the shit out of this guy? I don't think I could take Madison Cawthorn. I think he could beat me, even though he's disabled. Yeah. He seems like he has a lot of upper body strength.
He could run you over, probably.
Yeah, he could probably, yeah. There was always, like, I don't know where I'm pulling this from, but I feel like there was a trope in 90s cartoons where there was always a character in a wheelchair, and if it was, like, they had superpowers, the wheelchair guy always, like, he can turn his wheelchair into a fucking tank. And mow this guy down. And, you know, that I feel that should be, like, a feature of all wheelchairs, frankly. Yeah. And we should subsidize it with government funds.
I don't think the transforming vehicle thing has been worked out quite yet. Like, have we ever had a vehicle that transformed? Because Transformers can
Convertibles... Duh.
Not every convertible you can take the top off while you're driving. If you do that on some convertibles, the whole top rips off. I mean specifically when you are in motion, because a transformer can transform in motion. That's what I want to see.
Okay. I don't think we have that technology yet. Where a Shia LaBeouf can commandeer a transformer.
Yeah, Shia LaBeouf can just turn into an intense freak, like, right before your eyes, like an authoritarian, power-tripping asshole. Do you remember his campaign when Trump was first elected, where he put a camera outside?
Yeah, was it called He Will Not Divide Us? I think it was called He Will Not Divide Us. and it immediately got trolled by 4chan assholes.
It turned into a gathering spot for the alt-right.
Yeah,
I'm convinced much of the alt-right met going to that camera.
Oh my god. But then, so it was originally in fucking like Williamsburg or Greenpoint or some hipster ass neighborhood in Brooklyn, and then he finally took it down and put it in like the middle of the desert in Arizona, and the fucking 4chan people figured out where it was. Yeah. And then like put a Pepe flag in front of it.
They found out where it was every time. They kind of made Shia LaBeouf go insane.
Yeah, maybe that's
that did fuck him up a little bit. I mean, he was like eventually arrested in front of it fighting someone, right?
Was that part of? I don't remember, but that is a funny story. Shia LaBeouf's. I don't remember all the details, but I think if that's not right, that's close to right. All of the details cascade into this beautiful melange of misguided ideas and an egoist and like this malevolent group of trolls, and it's like you don't really feel bad because the person they're hurting is Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, no, he was arrested on his own live stream, fighting people. Well, I guess Nazis who come up. Oh yeah, a Nazi comes up and says Hitler did nothing wrong, and put his arm around Shia LaBeouf, and then Shia LaBeouf like attacked him.
That's pretty cool, actually. You know, Shia gets points for that in my book. You know, he doesn't get points for strangling FKA Twigs allegedly, but he gets points for strangle more Nazis and less FKA Twigses. Maybe FKA Twigs put his arm around him and was like,
I thought, nope. Yeah, I thought about saying something like that, and then I was like, nope, don't need to.
Yeah, speaking of casual racism, the fucking Queen got booted this weekend.
Now, Meghan, you and Harry been going together 2 years now. So what happens when someone like you and someone like Harry
Back in my day, when you wanted to put the crayons... Well, we didn't have crayons. They were just diamonds. They didn't write. But we scrawled on the old discs with them. I don't know what the fucking Queen says. What does the fucking Queen
apparently
say? I don't care for the blacks.
The Queen, apparently, and they're all of them are racist, which I can totally 100% believe.
I didn't see any of the interview. I didn't intake any part of it. But what
you didn't even read a summary?
They said... I read a summary. Okay. Basically what they said is they wouldn't provide security for the baby. Something about them spending 8 months at Tyler Perry's compound. Which seems frankly like maybe they were being held captive by Tyler Perry, who was ransoming the Queen.
It's a new Medea movie. Prince Ransom.
Diary of a mad regicide artist. Medea kills the Queen in defense of the honor of black women.
Well, so the biggest thing in the Oprah interview, which is what we're talking about, with Meghan Markle and Harry Battenberg Windsor.
Harry Battenberg Windsor.
Is that... Actually, I'm sorry, Mountbatten Windsor. They used to be Battenberg, but Battenberg was too German, so they changed it to Mountbatten Windsor.
They didn't want everyone to know the secretly Central European bitches.
Well, Windsor, of course, in 1917, the House Windsor was the House Saxe-Coburg-Gotha, which was also too German. Yeah. German. So it's two German families have made this Prince Harry, who was, of course, on the cover of the Daily Mail wearing a Nazi outfit. And the prince married Meghan Markle And apparently his mother was concerned about the color of the baby. No, not his mother, his grandmother. His mother died.
Okay. Yeah, his mother, died. Was murdered.
By the dastardly press, who we have to outlaw now.
Yeah. Yeah, apparently, what if he's the heir to the throne and he's... Well, it's also, not to be crass or nothing, but have you seen Meghan Markle? It's like, it's not...
Again.
It's really not going to alter that much.
We don't go there either, because genes are weird, man.
Okay.
You don't, like, the thing is, also, have you seen Meghan Markle's mother? Because she's a black lady, and I think Meghan Markle's a black lady.
Okay.
She's definitely not pretending, like some other topics.
like every
other woman,
apparently. No.
Everyone's pretending. Imagine if, like, everyone in America was actually pretending to be black. Kind of was like that.
Just like I had this idea, like, you go to a conference of Canadian academics and indigenous studies, and the announcer is like, "Is anyone here actually indigenous?" And no one puts their hand up, and except for one lady that says, "I'm Jewish." You don't count, Rachel. Shut up.
Can I still keep coming? I'm sure. So
yeah, it's a real fucking problem.
Shocked. I was a little bit shocked at this Oprah interview, because it was either the Queen Elizabeth or, I don't know, her son Charles, who questioned the color of the baby, and I just think that's crazy.
Why is that? Why? For the Queen? For these people? Why would that be crazy for these people?
Well, that's just such a horrible thing to say. I don't know.
Yeah, but it's the Queen.
Yeah, but it's
she was like
grandson and sons. It's like a horrible thing to say to your son. It's just crazy.
Yeah, but it's a legacy thing. I don't think. See, I think when you have that much money, you don't really view yourself as a person. You know, you view yourself as sort of like you have this stiff upper lip duty to the country. You know, your desires do not matter. And the will of the people is to not have a slightly caramel-colored little baby. You are an emissary of the state, young Harry. And in doing so, the state is sickly and pale, as it represents... I don't know what it represents.
They're going to have that, like, that sickly, pale little boy be the king. Whoever William's kid is.
If a king is too tan, if a king has a darker complexion, then people will be lulled into a false sense of security by his good health. A people should think their king is constantly going to die from incest fits, but he will live to 146.
Incest fits. I got a case of them, Doc. The doctor's like, well, what do you think you have? Like, I see you're coming in here. I see these symptoms that you're describing. Fits. You had sex with your sister. Oh, wait. An incest fit isn't something that happens to the... Oh, no, okay. Never mind.
No, an incest fit is when, occasionally, every 36 hours... Prince Charles will just start saying, jackfruit, jackfruit, jackfruit. And
I think you mean the old one, like the 99-year-old one, Prince Philip. Yeah,
Prince Philip will just say that.
Probably goes around like...
And they need to... The only way they can settle him is by whipping his bald head with boom whackers.
Yeah. You know what's weird about that? Like, 99-year-old people now aren't... to me, that impressive now that I'm 31. Now I kind of think, because when I was 11, a 99-year-old person was alive in 1901, which I thought was cool.
Yeah.
A 99-year-old person now, I mean, they were born in 1919, right? Or 1920. Not as good. They haven't seen as much cool shit. Like, they didn't see the Russian Revolution.
They saw the war.
The Second War.
You
only saw the Second. We didn't even see the First World War.
Yeah. Didn't see the prequel. Doesn't understand. It's not
Never
in
saw
context,
the fucking prequel. Exactly.
It's like those kids, those scrub kids that are coming right now to the MCU with WandaVision. These bitches. Nah, I don't care. I haven't seen WandaVision. I don't intend to. It's over. The MC. I'm never gonna watch another Marvel property. Now, I mean, I should never say never, but I have absolutely no desire to watch.
Do planes
this shit.
count? Like, does On a Plane count?
But I wouldn't watch it on a plane because I watch movies on. I don't watch TV shows on planes for some reason. I only like watching movies on planes.
Right. Well,
but I guess the line between movies and TV.
I meant more like
now, so.
You said never any Marvel movie ever again. I could see myself watching a Marvel movie on a plane.
Yeah, I could see myself watching a Marvel movie I've already seen, but I don't want to invest in any new Marvel properties.
What about Ant-Man 3?
I probably will because I'm a stupid little piggy bitch that consumes media hoggishly because it has bright colors and things that I recognize and vaguely quippy dialogue that I could be like, you know, those Marvel movies, they're funny in some places, you know. It's not so bad. Yeah. Sometimes I mean, the Ant-Man movies have fucking Tim Heidecker and fucking Neil Hamburger in them for some reason. They show up in the fucking Marvel universe, so there's something going on maybe, but probably not. And our favorite boys just lent themselves to a big capital. I really hope Greg Turkington got paid like bank for his Ant-Man appearance. I hope he got paid like fucking $35K for like his 10 second scene.
Yeah, everyone should be paid at like $35K per 10 seconds. That should be the minimum wage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I agree. Cameo wage. Cameo wage is what we should be fighting for.
My favorite like fantasy is like a violent revolution to the point where they're like, okay, we'll give you anything you want. What do you want? And we're like, raise the minimum wage to something outrageous. And we really have them over a barrel. And then the only change we want is like $35K every 10 seconds. That's the minimum wage. You can afford it.
Just print more money. Man, speaking of minimum wage, Kristen Sinema really fucked up this week.
It's not cinema, it's cinema.
Kristen Sinema really fucked up this week. She did the thumbs down anime pose.
I thought it was cool.
You thought it was cool? So, for people not in the know, the Senate voted on whether to raise the federal minimum wage from the current paltry $7.25 to $15 an hour, which is still pretty bad, but it's like not poverty.
You and everyone else is just jealous because she's so good looking.
She's a very attractive woman. And Kristen Sinema, who was the Arizona senator, the woman who was directly after John McCain, took John McCain's Senate seat. She was supposed to. She had even represented before that they need to raise the minimum wage, and she emphatically and enthusiastically voted no on raising the minimum wage. And the way in which she did was by doing a little curtsy, holding her purse in one hand and doing a little thumbs down when she did her curtsy. And that footage is being distributed as showing a gleeful callous.
You know what? I think this is a big to have a Bushism, it's a misunderestimation. It's a misunderestimation. You're misunderestimating her. You know why?
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone is saying that Kirsten Sinema, like, pats Mitch McConnell on the back and then does this little curtsy move to try to make him see and makes him, or something. And they're not putting any kind of, like, have some imagination. You don't have to hate on this lady. Maybe she's playing some kind of insane erotic mind games with Mitch McConnell right now. And if she becomes his like dominatrix mistress and is stepping on his balls with her high heels, then guess what? Democrats are in a pretty good position.
Mitch McConnell likes cat girls. It's been proven.
What's the and the other thing?
Mitch McConnell's always going, nyan. Yeah.
I gotta say, I don't care about her cool outfit, which I thought was cool, and her
outfit was cool. Good color block.
and her gutsy vote against giving poor people any more money at all.
It was real. It was really taking a stand to the unwashed hordes. Actually, you could think of it as a way and courageous if you did fear people coming after you, which he clearly doesn't, and it clearly won't happen. But you could spin it such that she's fighting against the majority's will, you know? She's taking a principled stance. Because we can't fucking afford it. Okay? We can't fucking afford it. Small businesses.
It's like a bajillion more dollars. We can't even calculate it.
How many more? What if Sam's Grow and Feed can't afford to pay their people $7.25 an hour? Yeah. Where else will they? Then OnlyFans won't be able to be funded. Then our nation's GoFundMe's would go barren. Think about their GoFundMe's. Think about their OnlyFans.
Dude, you know what's a skeezy job right now is the OnlyFans union organizer guy. He's like, "Come on, girls, let's all do this together."
Is this a union or is this just a pimp? Nah, it's a union. It's okay. Don't worry about it. What are you spending all of our dues on? Nothing. Just a few gold teeth.
Like, you know, golden walking canes.
Just a few gigantic 2-meter calf feathers. You know, nothing wrong with that.
Found this receipt for 48 plumes.
What are you doing with this union?
Yeah, that was a great shout out to Kramer and Seinfeld in the Technicolor Dreamcoat episode.
When you think about it, a pimp really is a union. He's like the old style union where you'd have guys that could bust heads if they ever shortchanged your workers.
Right.
Well, I jest about that, but actually there are egalitarian sex worker guilds that very much do function like unions, especially brothels run by madams who... There's a lot of bad madams, but there's a lot of good madams.
That's why you have, you can't have one person claim to represent the entirety of the organization. Like you do with the pimp scenario. You have everyone has got something in common.
The sex workers control the means of sex production. That's what sex marks.
The sex.
With the sex machines.
Prostitution's been legal in Germany for a while, so there's probably some interesting research being done on the effects on society there, but it's probably not translated yet. I think they legalized between 15 and 20 years ago. I don't know. So there should be some stuff coming out. Get on those researchers.
Now people see the effects of prostitution on Germans. We liked it very much. The sex was more efficient and thus preferable.
How is it that you say in American, how is the sausage made? Yes. How is the sausage made? It's made with the prostitution. Very matter of fact, they are.
Yes. Man. Speaking of Germans, and hence Nazis, the Mumford & Son guy really likes Andy and Go.
Oh, man. So which guy is... So this is the Mumford & Sons guy. He tweeted that he read a book by Andy No. Or Nyo.
Yeah.
Whoa. I don't know how he's...
Andy and Go to the Bulls.
It's not Ngo. Okay, but that's Asian.
I don't know how it's fucking pronounced.
Anti-Asian racism.
It's anti-Asian, and we have to be very wary of anti-Asian racism.
What do you do with these guys?
There have been spikes in hate crimes.
You do with these guys because they'll use it against you.
You can't do woke racism. You can't do woke ableism. You can't do woke racism.
Dude, come on.
People are forgetting the active part of those. It's woke, you know? So you don't have to worry about it.
The only good humor anyway is self-deprecating.
Andy No is a bad person, which is why, you know, we get to say that he looks like the South Asian Wayne Newton. Actually, I do believe that. I do believe he's got a big Wayne Newton energy going. That's not racist. He does
Andy
look like the South Asian Wayne Newton.
Is a very deceitful video editor. Basically, that's the big bad thing about him, is that he will do these deceitful videos and spread propaganda. And he also published, so every single person that was arrested during the protests, he posted their name and mugshot, like high quality. Somehow he got a connection. So every single, and huge threads with people's name and mugshot. And if he could find any information about him, I'm sure he would post that too. So he's like actively trying to document people who would go to Black Lives Matter protests and get arrested, including journalists, which is fucked up. So the Mumford & Sons guy reading his book, so lame, I guess, but they're lame, so...
Well, so I was also... The Mumford & Sons guy, he's a blue check with only 3K followers, which I thought was interesting. So he's not a very popular public figure, not as much as the main Mumford & Son guy, Marcus Mumford, who was in Inside Llewyn Davis, so that gave him some credibility for me. He quits himself pretty well in that movie. Fare thee well, oh honey, fare thee well. Whatever. But this guy's the banjo player for Marcus Mumford, and I think his dad is some sort of finance ghoul. He's a rich boy with a banjo. And the only other stuff that I could find on his page, all of it was about Chinese Uyghur genocide. Like, that seems to be his main number one obsession.
Okay.
And I mean, the Uyghur genocide is interesting because it could be happening, but I don't trust any of our news on China, and I don't trust any of China's news on China.
What about the German news and the French news? Seriously, though, that's important.
Yeah, no, but I think all coverage of China, there's like generally this sort of coalition against in the Western, in the EU and in North America against China to sort of...
just signed a big... Hold your horses, because the EU just signed a big China deal. I think you should check out that Dutch DW, that Dutch newspaper. I think it's called DW. I don't know what it stands for. See what their coverage is about the Uyghurs right now, and then if there's anything there, then maybe we should take it seriously. But I don't know, how do you take it seriously?
I don't know. It's just always, China is a black hole of information usually, just because of the heavy government control and the stuff we do get. It's like these drone footage of these Uyghur camps, and it's like, well, it could be drone footage of Uyghur camps, but I mean, there's also like the whole whataboutism thing, where it's like, I think in this case is, how do we justify, condemning and consigning China, trying to start a trade war with them, or trying to start, God forbid, a real war with them, which I think the underlying message with this Mumford & Son guy is he does seem sort of like a bloodthirsty, crazy asshole, like one of these, we should start a war with China because this is the real clash of civilization shit.
Oh, no.
The Muslims weren't enough, we need to start a war with the fucking Chinese, he's like one of these assholes. Which is why, which explains why he's also he's also anti-Antifa, because he is this status quo preserver. I mean, it's in the music of Mumford & Son. We were talking about it as well. I had made a quip earlier about when Ariel Pink got caught at the White House about how... it's no surprise that Ariel Pink is a fucking alt-right guy, since his entire career is based around nostalgia I phrased it much better. It's like, the guy who built his entire career around looking towards the past is reactionary? Who would have thought? So, and it's the same with these Mumford & Sons, except where Ariel Pink is looking back towards the 80s. These Mumford & Son guys are looking back towards the 1900s. So they're even more reactionary. I thought...
I guess they are. Man, I guess are they looking back to the 1900s? Is that why they only have the bass drum?
Yeah, well, it's when does "Oh Brother, Where Art Thou" take place? I guess that's the 1920s. But yeah, Depression era banjo American folk music. But it's not authentic. It's ersatz because it's like done with this pop music stomp sensibility. So it's not like they're. I mean, like occasionally, like the Marcus Mumford guy will do, like, a more traditional folky sounding thing, but that's not their shtick. Their shtick is, it's a big pop song with a 4-to-the-floor bass and a singable melody and a fighting in your face
and I was shitting my pants.
Was suck your dick, yeah.
Fart on my shoes.
Was suck your
and every line starts with I.
No. I will suck a boy's dick. And I will eat a boy's asshole. And I'll be coming out for you in the night. When I eat your asshole and I get on my flight. I don't know what the fuck.
Yeah, that's it, man. That's what they sound like. Freaks.
I could suck a boy's dick. Oh, that'd be fun. You can't suck a girl's dick, though, because it stands to reason that they're also transphobic.
Who is Mumfords? The Mumfords?
They're probably also
British?
transphobic. I don't think the banjo player would suck a girl.
Because if they're British, then the odds go up.
Yeah, they are British.
The odds are up there.
They're all
British
turfs.
people.
Yeah.
It's a stereotype about you now that you hate trans people because of your fucking Harry Potter lady. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, the Harry Potter lady was big, but it's really the unique feature of England, which makes it so transphobic. I've heard it broken down this way, is
the shape of
their tabloid press.
The island shape, but no.
Is yeah, the weird shape of the island creates ley lines that make people transphobic. The ancient Druids, that's what Stonehenge. It was originally like a
it's
turf
transphobia
monument.
hex.
Yeah, you can't change your gender while in the middle of Stonehenge.
Yeah, it propagates outwards.
Okay, that didn't go as well. That joke didn't land anywhere. But yeah, the British tabloid media, because it has this especially sensationalized approach, and because it actually sells like way more than it does in the States. Like, you can actually move paper in England in a way that you can't move in other countries. And the stuff that you can move on paper are these sort of crazy... They just found that after, like, a couple of pieces of pretty ho-hum legislation were passed in, like, 2013 Parliament that had to do with trans rights, stories were published, and newspapers found that, they could get hits publishing all of these stories that had, like, op-ed controversial think pieces about trans rights. And that's what started the thing. And they found that even more, that they could get higher numbers if they published negative opinions about trans people. And so this sort of cynical approach to journalism is really what led to the proliferation of transphobia as a mainstream idea. And I'm talking, I shouldn't even say tabloids, because shit like The Guardian would do this shit as well.
Yeah, that's the same attitude that the social networks have adopted. They also like negative stories. They really like the negative stories.
Yeah, because outrage media, like, definitely has its roots in that British tabloid media that Rupert Murdoch even came out of.
That's guys why, like you know what I say?
And Piers Morgan.
You know what I say?
Yeah.
Let's just ignore the bad news. It's fucking bullshit.
Damn, someone create a show that's only good news. And then sell it to CBS, and then not produce any episodes.
It's like just like each week will be like episode next week. There wasn't any good news this week.
No, that actually happened. Did you not hear that happen? Jim from The Office, right? John Krasinski started a web series where it was only good news, and he would have his celebrity friends on. And then he sold the format to CBS, and then for like millions of dollars, and then they produced no episodes.
I did not know that. I thought of a real-world Office plot.
Oh, yeah. It's so good. I mean, John Krasinski might be a fucking huge bastard. I maybe not personally, but at least all the stuff he appears in is real bastard media. Like the Benghazi movie and the Jack Ryan stuff. And it's not even fun Jack Ryan. It's especially propagandistic Jack Ryan.
Yeah, we're not sending our best to Hollywood anymore. Like Hollywood / CIA stuff. Not sending our best. Not like Daniel Craig.
No. Out of all the tomato-nosed action stars,
the original
Daniel Craig is
the
my
original
favorite
Hollywood CIA bonding experience, which was James Bond. Bunch of bullshit, man. I'm very anti-James Bond now.
James Bond with MI6?
No, I know. I know.
But did he collaborate with the CIA?
No, he didn't. But it was like propagandistic in a way that encouraged the CIA to make movies, I think. So yeah, you were right. I misspoke. But MI6 teaming up with, I guess, Hollywood, whoever the fuck it was, of making James Bond in the 60s.
Yeah. Well, propagandizing
What do they call British Hollywood back there? Is it just Stonehenge? It's like, we'll call it Stonehenge because it's all we got. It's all
Stonehenge.
Movie company. He was propaganda for the British government and the collapsing empire. We've still got it, you see. We've got...
Yes.
Yeah.
We'll have a Scottish man and he'll take all your women, and as he's raping them, eventually they'll like
that's empire, baby.
James Bond rapes a woman every 3 seconds in the first 4 Bond movies. It's really quite astonishing. You'll blink if you miss it.
My theory is that you can divine what is happening in the government and the deep state by a close reading of the Marvel movies, like a very close reading. Okay. And all I will say is that when the plot changes, like when the Marvel movies are no longer the dominant movie, that will be when we know like there has been some kind of huge change in the order of the government, when it's not Marvel movies anymore that are dominant. I think it's that close.
You're saying that as a joke.
No, I'm not.
But
I think that like the person or organization that chooses the dominant movie form that attracts the public interest is the government. And when when it's not Marvel movies anymore, that's when we'll know something big has happened.
Yeah, I think that's pretty, like, absolutely superhero movies are a stand-in for people's waning faith in neoliberalism and their desire to believe that a bunch of technocratic elites actually do have their backs. Like, and you know, that was even the criticism in Incredibles 2, you know, the reaction to the Marvel movies. The villain in Incredibles 2 is like, people become dependent on these technocrats and they don't, they don't form communities and seek to help themselves, which is also kind of Adam Curtis's thesis as well, which is like we become sort of dependent on these individual figures who let us down, and that sort of atomizes us and isolates us more, when instead we should be seeking to find ways to collectivize our own power. As opposed to relying on superheroes.
They seem to want to have us think of it as myth, so I propose that we do that, but do it the good way, and redo all the Marvel movies in the style of long, epic poetry. Okay?
Yeah, that's what you always hear them being compared to Greek mythology,
Let's fucking
right?
do
It's
it.
like, so in this one, Captain America turns himself into a swan and rapes a lady.
Let's change the plots to make them good and like evocative of the death of an empire, or the modern. Like,
okay.
I don't know. A lot of the Iliad to me is kind of about Bronze Age collapse.
So in this one, Iron Man turns himself into a bear and rapes a boy. That's what Greek mythology was all about: turning yourself into animals and raping.
True.
That's 50% of all Greek mythology is turning into an animal and rape. That was like they were the original furries in that respect.
It's not close to 50%.
50% of all Greek mythology. Those are just mistranslations in the Iliad.
A more accurate thing to say would be like 50% is murders, because most of it is just murders.
The Trojan horse was a mistranslation. That was actually Achilles turning himself into a horse and raping Agamemnon.
Okay. Yeah, it was just a bunch of weird bestiality. That's all it was.
It was all it was. That's all it was.
Man, no, there's a lot of cool stuff you can learn from it, dude.
What, the Iliad?
Well, no,
what can you learn from
Greek
the Iliad?
mythology? But
okay.
Anyway, we don't have to get into Greek mythology. We're talking about turning.
We can get into it. Okay, no. Hit me up. What's your favorite Greek mythological story?
Well, Troy is pretty great. The Iliad. I do. If you want to talk
Troy
about that, and also there's plays by Sophocles and Aeschylus about Agamemnon. I can't remember who. I think it's called the Eumenides. About some shit that happened with Agamemnon.
Do you like Antigone? Are you an Antigone fan? Any of that line? Any of the Oedipus
Eumenides
line?
is like one of those kinds of plays, but it's about the tragedy of Agamemnon because he had to kill his daughter to go to Troy, and then he gets killed by his wife and gets back. Anyway, there's cool stuff. No bestiality. There's just like, oh my god, you betrayed the laws of the guest. Like Zeus is the god of the guestness. Like, I was a bad host. And stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, there's a lot of those. There's a lot of punishment for treating guests poorly.
Yeah, you got to treat your guests well.
Yeah, he's a guest.
You got to give them, like, turkey legs.
Big old... I don't think they had turkey in ancient Greece.
Whatever. Goat legs. You got to give them, like, a big piece of meat.
Yeah.
You got to, like, give them, like, a selection of young maidens. You got to give them, like, a feather mattress and, like, some gold, like a golden gift and some incense.
Young boys.
A sheep.
Boys.
If he likes a sheep.
You got to give them the Greek equivalent to femboy Hooters, which was... I don't know, femboy souvlaki.
Souvlaki style femboy.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind that.
Why don't
put your femboys on a spit?
I think you
and
should
roast
move
them.
to Turkey.
Femboys al pastor.
Have you ever thought about moving to Turkey?
What?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
In Turkey? In the big city?
No, move to Istanbul.
I'm gonna make it after all. Wait, why is moving to Turkey such a funny premise for you?
For the souvlaki femboys.
For the souvlaki femboys, I'll start the first souvlaki femboys in Turkey.
You just immediately go to Turkish prison.
Immediately go out to Turkish prison. Maybe I could do it in Iran. Maybe I could pull it off in Iran. I don't think I could call them femboys though. They would just have to be women. It would just have to be, and I don't think I could make it like a Hooters. They would just be in.
You're really
full
thinking
garb,
like a businessman. How am I gonna make this work? How am I gonna make a money?
I don't think I could make femboy souvlaki. I feel like femboy souvlaki could work in Germany actually, or like the Netherlands. That's
Ooh.
That's where I would do femboy tzatziki. Because it's made of their cream. It's made of their yogurt.
Ew, dude, gross. Their yogurt?
Why don't you like... Yeah. Yeah, that's what Greek yogurt is. It's just young boy.
One time in 5th grade, this was the stuff of legend. A young Vietnamese boy in our class named... Well, never mind. I won't say his name.
Don't give his name.
Because, in fact... No one ever found out that it was him, and it was the only time we were all unified in protecting someone in our class. We never did this again. We always turned each other in. But this young man threw a go-gurt so high that it got stuck to the wall, and even the janitor couldn't get it down. And it was in class. So there was a Go-Gurt way up high. Forever. Just forever. And no one told the teacher, no one told the principal who it was. But we all knew who it was because we watched him do it, and we all cheered when it stuck there.
Just slowly coagulating for all of eternity. Yeah. It's still there.
And you can imagine
day.
like the jokes that we would be just like telling each other, like, I can smell it. Just it was good stuff in 5th grade.
You had a Go-Gurt on the wall.
It was before we all grew to hate each other. It was like Lord of the Flies.
If only you had more amusing Go-Gurt anecdotes that could have banded you together.
No, well, it was just a series of escalating bullying events after that.
Man, I don't understand how, like, I'm depressed as an adult. Because if I just think back to childhood just a little bit, it's like, that shit is so much worse than my life right now. I have agency now. I can smoke weed. I can go to the store. I can
unlimited
smoke
root beer
weed.
floats is a good one.
Unlimited root beer floats until I shit my pants. Yeah. So, yeah, I feel like I should be grateful for I should practice more gratitude that I'm not a fucking kid anymore. Simple Plan was right when they said I'm just a kid and life is a nightmare. They really hit it out of the park.
Were you into Simple Plan?
With their French-Canadian pop-punk stylings brought solace to my heart.
Wow. I knew some. I think my god sister was into Simple Plan. She was into Good Charlotte.
I know. Yeah, that's a very funny iteration of pop punk, mid 2000s pop punk, especially bland and annoying. How could this happen to me? I've been so afraid.
Yeah, that's depressing.
I don't know. Maybe there's a place for it. People seem to love it. It really seemed to resonate with a lot of people. And I think there's nothing wrong with, like, obvious or hit you over the head type of messaging. Because that's really what it is. That's why it's cringe, is because it's so naked and dumb. And there's no subtlety to it. And it's produced with this lack of self-awareness, almost. And I think that's what people mock about it is actually what people respond to. So funny that.
Oh, a raw look behind palace doors. Meghan and Harry meet with Oprah. A raw tale. A saucy boy.
I was being a very saucy boy, Oprah. A very saucy boy indeed. Man, if my mom was the queen and she was racist...
Racist queen, no racist queen.
Man, I would much prefer a woke queen. I don't know about you, but I would like it if my queen understood intersectionality.
Yeah, I was thinking that this is a kind of a really big fuck up, I think, for them, because they're struggling to be relevant, and if they are lame and racist, then people are going to be mad at them, and that's all that counts in their eyes. So it's a huge mistake to be horrible racists in 2020. It's my
Maybe
verdict.
it is, but none of the little Englanders that would be responsive to this are in my media sphere, because I can imagine, just like a lot of Arsenal fans are like, oh, the Queen knows what she's talking about. We don't want no fucking, we don't not.
Okay.
We don't want no goddamn mulatto. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, there'd be racist people in England.
I'm sure there's some people who are like saying that the Oprah interview is a horrible betrayal. I've been a gooner all my life, and this Oprah, I don't know who this Oprah lady is.
I've been a kid all my life. This is how you repay the queen.
Losing his shit, like Christopher Cantwell, the crying Nazi, except this guy's the crying monarchist.
It's very, very odd. A lot of British robots on Twitter, I observed. I was looking for British people's responses, and I found some robots on Twitter replying.
Philosophy Tube, the YouTuber, once said that the Queen is basically England's waifu, England's collectivized shared waifu, and I always thought, oh yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty accurate description, and that's why people are, insanely quick to defend her racist
well, to be
actions.
Fair, this could have been Charles. It could have been just Charles, because the Queen might also be just completely out of it. So,
it's true.
Or it could have been Philip.
She could be.
It could have been.
Could have been Philip.
Fucking old guy who looks like a vampire.
What if it was funny? It was just Andrew. Like Andrew's just the bad egg. He's the pedophile and the racist, and they just. We just can't get rid of him.
Is he Duke of Kent? He should have his title stripped.
He's Duke of Cunt.
He's Duke
That's
of
what
ass.
he is. I got some Duke on my ass.
Yeah, me too, brother.
It's because I don't wipe hard enough. It's because I don't wipe till I'm bloody.
Dude,
like
I've been bloody.
To.
I've had bloody wipes. I've got hemorrhoids from constipation sitting in the car for 11 hours.
Oh no, you should get a donut.
Yeah, I guess. Oh yeah, I am sitting right on my butthole in a bad way. It's. Oh.
You see a lot of those pop and pimple videos, and people are like, I don't know what it is. I'm just really into pimple popping. Mm-hmm. But you never see any pop and hemorrhoids videos,
Ooh, it hurts.
You never see anybody who's like, just like, I don't know what it is about those hemorrhoid popping videos, but there's something about it, it's really entices me.
Well,
I mean, I've watched those pimple popping videos, but the pimple popping ones are good. But the blackhead removal videos, that's the real shit, where they're just like removing a greasy field of blackhead, and these little grease noodles are coming out of people's pores.
Like an extra kind of explicit notification for this episode, because that's beyond explicit.
This is a greasy episode.
An egregious breach of common trust in terms of not describing disgusting things. You were banned, sir. You were banned from the show.
We right from the start. Turn around, brown eye. That's
for saying
what we
those
said.
things. You were banned for 1 week. Next week will be a solo episode, just me talking about how much you suck.
No.
That's the punishment. No, I'm kidding. I would never.
I would never. Okay. But can we still be friends? Can we still be friends?
I'll think about it.
There, some other stuff that I want to bring up because it's a subject that is near and dear to my heart, and another subject that dominated part of the news cycle this week was Space Jam.
Oh boy, I didn't.
When you're living in a bubble and you haven't got a can, Space Jam. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I Believe I Can Fly, motherfucker. R. Kelly ass Space Jam is coming back, and people got some problems with it. First of which is Lola Bunny. So Lola Bunny in the original Space Jam, some would say was sexualized. Would you say that Lola Bunny in the original Space Jam was sexualized?
Guess what? I have not seen Space Jam.
Oh no, you're not a 90s
My parents
kid.
didn't let me, probably because of the sexy titty bunny.
Sexy titty bunny was too much. Your dad's like, I don't know about this anatomical rabbit.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Or they were racist and they were like, there's a black guy in that movie. You can't see that.
There's some sort of Meghan Markle here.
Yeah, it's one of those two.
But yeah, the original Space Jam, Lola Bunny was a character that was invented for the movie. She was sort of like a 90s archetypical girl boss character where she was better than her male compatriots at the sport, but she was also hypersexualized. So it's like, you're almost there. You're almost there, 90s inclusion machine.
Hey man, be careful, because I've heard that making fun of Lola Bunny is doing literal violence to furries on Twitter. Yeah.
Has that actually been like a thing in the furry community?
So be careful, because you might be cancelable.
Oh no, I might be fur canceled. At any rate, but yeah, Lola Bunny. Lola Bunny, yeah, she was a lot of people's apparently a lot of people's first sexual awakening. So these Lola-nomics are serious. So what they did in the new Space Jam movie with LeBron James is they pared down Lola Bunny's bosom. And the thing is, I guess the rabbit is still coded female because she wears her ears in a ponytail and she's got big hips. But she has less noticeable breasts now. And people were mad about that. The joke that I wanted to make, but I couldn't make, and I saw someone else later make it who could make it, was, I'm glad Lola Bunny got the top surgery.
Wow.
An actual trans person made that joke, which I couldn't. But people got the sort of the uproar machine took its usual course, and of course it's like, they're killing our tit rabbits. The conservative media machine was like, we need to preserve the titty rabbits.
Why did that? I kind of felt like this is an obvious trap for conservative media people. Like, you can weed out the really retarded, R-worded ones, because it's what the fuck. Who cares? I guess I don't care because I haven't seen Space Jam. I'm safe on this one.
You know who cares is conservatives, because all this shit is culture war shit, you know? That's all they care about. You know, if you could... to me, that is the stupid calculation of the fucking post-left people, like Amy Therese and to a lesser extent Glenn Greenwald, is that if you could explain class solidarity to right-leaning working-class people, they would already be fucking communists. If you could do that, if there was any effective method of doing that. Because they're just all poisoned by this culture war shit. It's all they care about. They don't understand material analysis. This is the only way to get to them is through this culture war bullshit. And it's dominated by this dumbass Lola Bunny shit. Constantly. Apparently, it's what people fucking care about.
Yeah.
Even like you see Fox News doing segments on, they're canceling all of our favorite guys. Also, Dr. Seuss was in the racist Dr. Seuss books. Conservatives started buying Dr. Seuss books on droves in order to spite Dr. Seuss Company for banning the racist Dr. Seuss
shot
books.
Up in the charts. They made a bunch of money off of this. Just FYI.
Yeah, which is weird because that would seem to incentivize Dr. Seuss to keep banning its racist content if every time it does so.
They got all of it. Didn't they get all of it, though? You mean to tell me there's more?
Oh, there's definitely...
Man. Hey, don't ban the Grinch, and I'll be happy.
Was it there was a controversy in that the Cat in the Hat is supposed to have been based off of a black elevator operator that Dr. Seuss knew?
I don't know.
Or something like that.
You're not going to be able to ban the Cat in the Hat because with certain Jim Carrey, I believe, played him, right?
Mike Myers.
What are you going to do about that?
You
got to pick your battles, cancelers, okay? You got 6 books. That's good. You're going to try to cancel major motion pictures. You're going to piss off the corporations, and they're not going to continue displaying your slogans.
I don't think anybody is making money on the mid-2000s Cat in the Hat movie. I think Mike Myers would be proud to disown that movie.
He's just...
I think that movie's probably even a little problematic and wouldn't help the Dr. Seuss is racist.
Really?
I haven't seen it in a while, but yeah, some weird shit happens, like some weird like adult jokes that don't really work. happened in that movie.
I was not allowed to see that either. It was blasphemy. Sorry, my house is religious.
You said the R word retarded earlier, which you're not supposed to say, but I was thinking about it earlier in the context of it's so fucking crazy. Just think about how crazy a time the early 2000s were, that the Black Eyed Peas got one of the biggest songs ever of all time, like of that decade. It called "Let's Get Retarded."
Yeah, it's still hard for me not to say it because it was a word I said a lot, which is not something to be proud of. I'm not proud of it.
No,
said gay a lot too. It called a lot of things gay. Called a lot of people gay.
But yeah, I think on the spectrum of bad things to say, they're definitely, if you're doing a spectrum of, if you were doing a tier list of words you can't say, N-word, S tier, number 1. Can't say that one. We're not even going to try. I wouldn't even say it, but I can say.
I do not endorse the tiering system of slurs. I am not endorsing the tiering system of slurs. Okay? Just making that clear.
Cracker, honky, dude, those are F tier slurs because nobody's
offended by them. My first girlfriend had a
them.
tiering system for her friends, and she showed it to me like it was no big deal. She was like, "Hey, you want to look at my friend pyramid?" And I'm like, "What's your friend pyramid?" And she was like, "Oh, it's which friends are currently doing the best." And I'm like, "Doing the best?" And she's like, "Yeah, at the criteria for the friend pyramid, which is how I rank my friends. You're number 3. Oh. And I was like, "But we're boyfriend and girlfriend." She was like, yeah. Some of the other criteria that my other 2 friends meet just adds up to more than that."
Oh man, fuck. The other part of the fucking Space Jam thing was Pepe Le Pew. So Pepe Le Pew just came out that they cut all the Pepe Le Pew scenes this week, and allegedly, according to an article from the AV Club, there was a scene written where someone explained consent to
right,
Pepe
and that's
Le
offensive.
Pew.
That's offensive to French people. Okay, the notion of consent is very offensive to French people. They had to take it out. I agree with that.
Yeah, you're not respecting French culture. Yeah, you're doing woke ableism to French people when you say that they have to ask for consent.
What? No.
It is not a concept in their culture. They consider it to be a decadent Western concept. Oh man, well that's I mean you jest, but it really do be like that in France. Remember when Me Too was coming out and Catherine Deneuve was like, "Oh no, this is nonsense. These are just boys being boys."
Well, that happened in New York City with Cuomo in the fallout. The Cuomo fallout was thousands of old ladies banded together with their umbrellas and beat up the young reporters who were such smart Alex to report on this nothing story. If you don't like it, get over it. Okay? A message from the mothers of New York.
We love a Cuomo. We want him to drill us with his soprasset. With his big soprasset.
Well, as everyone keeps repeating as if it's a fucking mantra, it's a generational divide. The olds are insane.
I don't know. I could see how you could like Cuomo. Everybody from our generation likes The Sopranos, right? And he's basically just like a Sopranos character.
Guess so. I don't know.
He's like Johnny Sack or something like that. What character do you think? I guess you don't. It's been a while since you've seen. You wouldn't care. I think he's like Johnny Sack.
You can say Sopranos stuff.
Yeah, I should stop. I feel like I'm leaning too heavily on Sopranos references. I feel it like clicked in my head.
The first one of the show.
I get a lot of responses.
I keep track of these kinds of things, and I would have told you by now in our post-show discussions where I berate you on what you did wrong.
I'm sorry, I'll do better next time.
Can we still be friends after this?
Still be friends. Still be friends. My riffs will be tastier next time. I'll have tastier riffs. I like the idea of someone explaining consent to Pepe Le Pew. No means no.
No.
But I thought no means we. Oh my.
The only thing I saw about Space Jam was that they digitally increased LeBron's hairline. Yeah, they
really
airbrushed in hairline where there's no. I guess, maybe not. I think he did that himself professionally, but they may have done a little touch up top. You know, just because the man had a problem, I think, and then he went to a doctor and got someone else's hair surgically implanted one at a time. Sometimes 3 in one hole. It's very painful. And then your scalp is bleeding and the blood pools and gets down in your eyes. It can blind you. What I think was happening with Giuliani is related to that, frankly.
I mean, if you're rich enough, you can get the good hair plugs. Look at Elon Musk. Best hair plugs I've ever seen on a fucking guy. I hate the guy, but I will admit, whoever his hair plug guy is did a really good job. Yeah. That really looks painful. Have you seen fresh hair plugs? Yeah. Have you seen pictures of freshly implanted hair plugs?
I have.
Looks like a bloody forest.
President J, Mr. P, President B, President JB, I call him. We're real tight. President Mr. P, he's got hair plugs.
Hey Jack. Hey Jack. I don't know what he says anymore. He just says Jack.
Okay,
Jack.
On this Friday, he tweeted a video of him leaving the Oval Office in slow motion.
Yeah,
it was very cool.
After having done nothing.
He looks great in a suit and a mask. He looks great.
That was just, I mean, the lines that I saw preceding it were, this is just him moving at normal speed, which is very fun. I'm sure someone has already photoshopped an explosion going off behind
Join the cult of Joe is my recommendation.
I mean, I'm kind of already there. The thing is, he's obviously a monster, but I get what people find so gosh darn likable about him. He does have that frat boy energy, and the thing is, it's like the parodic image of Joe Biden as a senile old coot fills me with joy, and I can't separate that from the actual senile old coot who is less joyful. So, you know, it's like that the Onion felt sort of bad for creating such a lovable caricature of Joe Biden.
They shouldn't feel so bad. They've done us all a favor because when the asteroids hit or when the nukes start to fall, I will like to just trust in Joe. Just sit, because there's nothing else we're going to be able to do. We're powerless. So when the nukes are falling, I'm gonna have Joe to trust in, which is great because we are probably going to attack China 5 minutes from now.
Look. If a group of Chechnyan terrorists took over Air Force One when Trump was president, he couldn't have fought him off. He couldn't have fought him off. But Diamond Joe,
I think Trump could have.
He's got that Harrison
Ford
steeliness.
Action heroes. You know it. You know they both know karate. You know they could both disarm a man at 30,000 feet.
Oh man, Air Force One. That's a great movie. Now,
did you see that Trump has threatened Lisa Murkowski now?
No, which one's Lisa Murkowski? She's the senator
from Alaska. Trump said he's going to go campaign against her in Alaska in 2022. So
sort of a
Trump
downgrade.
Is going to Alaska, probably for the first time in his life, in November and October.
To run as a congressman?
Just to hold campaign rallies against Lisa Murkowski to get back at her.
Oh, man. We really blew it. We could have had him again, and we blew it, America.
I don't know what you mean. We got Joe. What are you talking about?
That we got a less funny version of him. It was great.
Well, hey, we got this weird stimulus package that only lasts a year, but it's like giving everyone who has a kid gets like $200 a month for a year. On average.
Pretty good.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But it's also, overall, it's less money than the Trump
but the Trump stimmy went primarily to corporations.
Well.
This stimmy goes primarily to the middle class and the working class.
That's Diamond Joe's promise. You get a promise from Diamond Joe.
And so now the State Department is doing weird stuff where they're like, the reason we got to bomb Syria is we are all about the working class in America. We're all about the middle class and the working class in America. Really
Here, Jack. The reason why we got to do tax cuts to 501c3s turning over $7 million in profit a year is working class.
Working class. With this stimmy, they are spending on the middle and the working class, and we will see what kind of return on investment they get, to use a capitalist phrase, ROI.
ROI, that's a hua, which is a king, which is what we are.
Right. Well, hopefully it's good, and hopefully
kings.
The Democrats,
Kings.
can, come together in 1 year, snap their fingers, make it permanent. That's what they say they're going to do.
They're not going to do that.
They might, but they'll probably reduce it a bunch because Joe Manchin will be like, I don't want to continue.
I don't have cold feet. I don't want more money. I'm Joe Manchin.
I don't want... No.
Yeah.
Kirsten Sinema will be like,
if there's a sentiment...
I don't want to do it either.
I hate it. I don't want to give them money.
It's my money.
So, we're at an hour and a half. I want to say that Kristen Sinema and Joe Manchin are big fucking shitbags. Everyone should hate them.
Boss power forever,
And it's been Turnaround Brown Eye. And I love all of you.
Every now and then I have to fight.